So here on this screen, what you're seeing is just a little bit more of an explanation of what I was explaining on the last screen as far as what rational numbers are. Rational numbers are where we start introducing the fractions, but they're going to be the kinds of fractions that either terminate, meaning they stop, like 0.25, 0.9, something. They don't go on forever, or if it's going to be a repeating decimal number like 0.33333333, and so on. Those are all considered rational numbers. Now, an irrational number, which is classified as, here we're using that letter H to indicate that we're using irrational numbers. Irrational numbers are going to be the kinds of numbers, again, they're including fractions and decimals, but these are going to be the fractions and decimals that are not really nice numbers. So if you were to go to your calculator and you were trying to type in, like what we see here, the square root of 7, what you would get on your calculator would be something that says 2.645751311, and that's just what the calculator displays. The decimal numbers continue on going forever, and they're not going to be, you know, a repeating decimal number or a decimal number that terminates. That's going to be what we would consider an irrational number. So here we have numbers like pi, so 22 over 7 is a very close approximation of pi, 3.142857143. Again, that would be considered, that 22 over 7 would be considered an irrational number because it has a decimal portion that never stops, nor does it have a natural termination to it. So the last thing that we see here is transcendental numbers. There's only two transcendental numbers that we concern ourselves with. Really, there's only two transcendental numbers that I'm really aware of. That's pi and e. So that's 3.14159, etc. And e is about 2.718, etc. It just keeps going and going and going. Pi is something that everybody's familiar with from geometry, using, you know, anything to do with circumference or areas of circles. E is considered is a natural number, a naturally occurring irrational number that we associate with financial mathematics or logarithms. Those are the most common things that we use them for. So the last thing that we're going to be looking at here for the classifications are, we have real numbers. So everything that we've discussed so far, whether it's a natural number, whole number, rational or irrational, those are all going to be considered real numbers. So everything that we've seen so far, you know, that's what we classify as a real number. Now, in Algebra 2, you get introduced to the concept of imaginary numbers, where the square root of -1 is equivalent to the imaginary number I. So those are considered imaginary numbers, which is very useful for electrical systems. It's very useful for electrical circuits when you're trying to figure out overall impedance of a circuit with capacitors and inductors, things like that. But those are not real numbers. So everything that we've seen so far are considered or real numbers, I should say. However, now we're entering the realm of something that's considered an imaginary value. So the last thing that we're really talking about here as far as numbers are concerned is going to be complex numbers.